Good Sunday evening to all of the baseball fans out there. We appreciate you tuning in, checking in on us for another episode of Around the State, a prep baseball Alabama podcast, all things relative to high school baseball across the state of Alabama. This is episode 5 of our 5th season. My name is David Sharp, Deep South Supervisor, along with our Alabama Scouting Director, Austin Sharp. Man, we've been coming on weekly. It's getting closer every week. We've about the last week. I live in Huntsville. Austin's in Auburn. But about the last week, man, it has been just bone chilling cold up here in Huntsville for about a week straight. And I can only hope that just maybe we're getting all that cold weather out of here before high school baseball starts, man. I guess maybe I'm too optimistic, but
I don't know if I bet on it.
that's what I keep hoping for. But man, yeah, it's getting closer, man. Good evening, Austin. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just another week closer to the season. Just kind of I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the last few episodes we talked about just trying to bridge the gap between the preseason and the high school season, and we've got some pieces coming out. One coming out tomorrow, and then next week is really when it really starts to ramp up, where we will release our polls and get into classification previews before the season starts. But just nearing first pitch, and had the Super 60 today in Chicago. We obviously did not go. The Super 60, for those not aware, is the premier draft workout for eligible MLB prospects in the country. Before the high school season starts, they had that up in Chicago. We weren't in Chicago, but it felt like we were in Chicago with how cold it is. But like you said, hopefully we're getting it out before the season starts. But you know how that goes.
Yeah, and we've had several guys over the last few years from Alabama go up to the Super 60, and this year we had one lone representative, Cam Jenkins, a recent move in from Illinois to Alabama. He's attending Bob Jones High School. We saw him at our Huntsville preseason ID, and we saw that tweet on him today. Swing looked really good there, man. It's which you probably, 99.9% of people that are on here have never been to the Super 60, maybe 100% of you, but it is pretty intimidating with all those national cross checkers and all those guys there in attendance when you're the only one hitting. It's a big time atmosphere. A couple things I want to say before we move on. Number one, man, we love interaction with our audience. So if you want to pop a question, a comment over there in the comments section, man, we'll try our best to get it on the screen and talk about it, answer a question if we can. And I also, Austin didn't know I was going to do this, but I also want to personally give a shout out to Austin because he has done a phenomenal job on those high school team previews and some of the articles that are coming out. I think we were up to 88 team previews, which we love doing them, man. I mean, the more the merrier because it gets us. It's another avenue for us to promote high school programs and promote those players that are within those programs. So thanks to those coaches that have gotten them in. They will be rolling out right up until the high school season ends. So, little less than 3 weeks, we'll continue getting those out. I want to say one more thing, man. This is a big week for me because love watching the Olympics. The opening ceremonies get cranked up this Friday. I've still got I was gonna watch that Netflix movie on the Miracle, the 1980 hockey team, but I'm gonna have to wait until tomorrow night to do that. But yeah, man, looking forward to the red, white, blue.
You're gonna be able to tomorrow, or no? You can't. You can now. Clash got moved to Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll talk about more with the NASCAR clash with the Hueytown guy when he comes on because we know that's the hotbed for NASCAR in the state of Alabama. If you don't know, Austin and I, and Austin 10 times more than I am, but we're big NASCAR guys, man. So the Bowman Gray Clash was supposed to be tonight. That's why we really didn't have this scheduled 3 or 4 days ago. Yeah, we didn't have this schedule because we thought it'd run into the race, so it got postponed, and it's not going to be until Wednesday night. So looking forward to that. But yeah, man, we'll go ahead before we turn it over to our 2 coaches that are coming on. We've got two 6A coaches of very prominent programs across the state. We're gonna get to them in just a minute. But before we do, as always, man, our prep baseball shop, man. I'm sporting a different little pullover tonight. Austin's got that that hoodie on that comes in 3 different colors. Shop.prepbaseball.com. Austin's pulled that up on the board. I do like that new hoodie or that new beanie right there. You got to cover the top of that head. I'm sure I'll need it out covering some games as well. But
you ain't got much warmth up there.
What's that?
So you ain't got much warmth up there. You need that.
I got to trap all that heat in, man, and keep it in. So shop.prepbaseball.com. Man, they get those orders turned around really, really quick. So if you're interested, there's your link to go on there and purchase some swag, I guess you can say. So with that, man, Austin, if you're good, if you don't have anything else, we'll go ahead and get into the meat of this podcast. You got Coach Chandler in there?
Yep.
All right. Well, before we pull him on, man, one of the good dudes of coaching, man, one of the really good guys in the state. And I feel like we say that all the time. I think that says a lot about high school baseball across the state, that we've got some really solid coaches, but more importantly, solid men that are leading these programs and leading these teams. For the head coach at Hueytown High School, he was there for years as an assistant coach, and then was elevated to head coach on the passing of Coach Patterson there at Hueytown. And Coach Chandler has done nothing but continue to lead that program the way it has always been respected across the state. Let's bring him on, man. Coach Billy Chandler. Coach, good evening. How are you?
Man, I'm great. How about you guys?
Man, we are doing phenomenal, man. What does the top of that say? That hat? What's that hat say?
Town. The town.
I
Town.
There you go.
I like it, man.
We started this little slogan a few years ago, and we ran with it and made some hats the last few years, and they've been real popular. So
I will say, every coach we've had on, they've had a good looking hat. I think AD had a rope hat on. I like that town hat. So
well, I appreciate it, man. And hey, thank you guys for having me on. Before we even get started, I want to just give you guys a shout out. Y'all do an awesome job promoting baseball in our state since y'all been doing this. What, it's 5, 6 years now, 4 or 5 years, but man, y'all have just grown this thing. And I know the high school coaches around the state really thank you guys and appreciate you guys for the promotion y'all do of high school baseball. Y'all really done a great job, and thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. We greatly appreciate that, man. And I think this will be your 3rd or 4th year in the South Alabama Showdown.
This will be our 3rd year in the South Alabama Showdown. We played in the Kickoff Classic the year before that. So
yeah, that's right. So maybe we'll get some warmer weather when we go down there the second weekend.
I hope so.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see you driving down.
That's why we go down there.
Maybe we'll see you driving down 65 like we did 2 years ago.
Yeah, maybe so. I got to drive that cheese wagon down there, man. We take that cheese wagon down there.
I hear you. Yeah, Coach, man, we were talking before you came on. I'm sure you heard us when you're waiting, man. Austin and I are big NASCAR guys, and Hueytown is the home of NASCAR in the state. I know it's Talladega, but
it really is.
Yeah, I grew up loving the Allison gang.
I love Debbie Allison, man. When I was a junior or senior in high school was kind of the height of his, really probably maybe even middle school was the height of his career, and then I think he died about the year as a senior, maybe junior, and man, that killed me. I love that dude. Number 28, baby. That Texaco Haviland Ford, buddy. I loved watching that thing on Sundays.
Hey, Austin's laughing because growing up, you look up to baseball players, you look up to football players, but Davey Allison was number 1 for me.
Me too. It's crazy. When I first got to Hueytown, when Coach would come in, Coach Patterson would bring us in on Sunday afternoons to hit sometimes if we had an important game on Monday. We'd come in the afternoons after church, and we'd put a microphone next to an old school radio and blast over the loudspeakers of the race as it was going on. We'd be taking BP and listening to Eli Gold or whoever was broadcasting the race, man. It was good times.
I hear you.
I'm looking the last couple of minutes been talking about NASCAR. Our viewer count's been going down, so we may
but Coach, we'll go and get started, Coach. And we appreciate you taking some time to come on tonight to talk about your team. It's a team that I think you're excited about from your team preview. I've told you several times over the last few years, you do as good a job in the state as anybody. I mean, I'm telling you.
There's a lot of good coaches in our state. I appreciate that.
That is a compliment to you. But you are in 6A Area 8. I think it's a 3-team area with Bessemer City and McAdory. And again, I said this last week. We don't want to be disrespectful towards any team, but you've got to like your chances. And with the 3-team area, you got to like your chances of of making the playoffs. And
Correct. Yeah.
we'll talk about some things here. But the first question that we want to ask you is, every team, their goal is to take home the blue map. Every team. And that's no different in Hueytown than it is anywhere else. But, what do you think would be the definition of success for your team in 2026?
Well, you talk about from a number standpoint, if you're talking about that kind of success, kind of every year we kind of look at the number 25. We'd love to get 25 wins. I always want to win our area. We've been lucky enough to do that about 10 years in a row, but this year it's going to be very tough. McAdory's got a good team. Coach Alvey played for us at Hueytown. He does a good job, and he's got some really good players. 3 in particular. Aaron Bailey is a really, really good arm, one of the better arms in our state at the top of that rotation. He's got a young kid. He'll be a 10th grader this year, Cooper Yarborough, who started every game last year as a freshman for them. He's going to be much improved after a year of starting at shortstop almost every game. He's a really good ball player. Then Sawyer Pearsall, who was injured last year, he didn't get to play very much, and he'll be back. He's just a really good player as well. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a dogfight, but that kind of success, number standpoint, you love to get 25 wins, win your area, and just see what you can do in the playoffs. We'd like to go as far as we can go, get hot at the right time, and advance in the playoffs. But I know recently for me, especially as I've gotten older and done this a lot longer, it's not all about that. I want to know our kids leave our program with a good work ethic, know how to handle adversity, things like that. So, we work them hard, and I want them to understand that, how to do things right when they get out in the real world. We had a kid last week who he called me last week. He's over at Lineman School in Georgia, getting ready to work for Alabama Power. And he called me and said, Coach, I just want to tell you, appreciate it. That hard work you put us through. Everybody over here is climbing these poles, and it's kind of hard. He said, but really hadn't been that hard for me. He said, because you pushed us so hard, and you made me know how to handle adversity. So really, that's really what success is about. I mean, it really is. And it's hard to remember that sometimes when you're on the field competing, but that's the most important thing for us now. It really is.
No doubt.
We talk about getting to that 25 win. You got there last year, finished 25-15, reached the Sweet 16. Got a good chunk of returning players coming back from last year's team. And like David said, you always get your team you get the most out of your team, I think is the best way to put it. But looking at some of your returners, when I did your team preview, who are some guys, some juniors and seniors, and you've got a good sophomore who played for you last year as a freshman. Who are some key returners that you'll be relying on this spring?
Well, from a senior standpoint, Jose Urisa and Caleb Chapman both got a lot of playing time last year. Jose played mostly infield for us, a lot of third base, caught a little bit. He's a really good catcher. He's going to catch the majority of the time for us this year. But we had a senior catcher last year that was kind of handcuffed, Jarrett Kahn. That's the only place he really could play. And so we needed both those guys in the lineup. So Jose had to play infield. And he's a really good infielder, by the way, as well. He really is. But he'll kind of hold down the catching spot. He'll probably catch 75% of the time this year for us. Jose will. He also will bat probably, upper middle of the order. Caleb Chapman will bat, in a 1 or 2 hole. He's a really good center fielder, but have to play second base a lot for us, which he did last year. There'll be some times he gets in the outfield as well, which I think is the position he can play at the next level. But he's a really good bat. Then, of course, 2 guys that aren't seniors. Will Vaughn will be a junior this year. He was one of our, top 3 pitchers last year. He'll be one of our top 2 guys this year. He'll also play a lot of third base, move around the infield a little bit. Expect him to hit the middle of the lineup. And then Bronson Moore, who will be a sophomore this year. Bronson started almost every game as a freshman last year, which is hard to do in 6A. At the beginning of the year, he batted kind of low in the lineup, but he hit really well. I think he ended like 325 on the year batting. He'll hold down the shortstop spot this year. He played second and short last year, but he'll be our everyday shortstop this year, and we expect really big things out of him. Excited to have him. And we've got a newcomer too, Jackson Carmichael, who's a senior transfer from Bessemer Academy. He'll be at the top of our rotation, and this kid's got a really good arm. He's signed with East Mississippi. He's gonna bring it up there 87, 88 miles an hour, and he's a good arm. We're excited to have him. He's also got a good bat. He grew up in Hueytown, playing here his whole life, and when he started playing travel ball, he actually played for Jeremy Brown. Coach Brown has a son his age, and they had a travel ball team with a lot of kids out of Hueytown on it. And so I asked Coach Brown when I found out he was coming back in August, hey, how good is this kid? He said, oh, Coach, he's good. You're going to be glad to have him. And we are. He's been nothing but just perfect in the weight room and the all season, so we're excited to have him as well.
we saw him at the East Coast Sox Scout Day this past summer, and we're really impressed with him. So
he's got good size and really live arm.
Yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about. You talked about a lot of your returners. Obviously, you're every team is going to go through ups and downs this year.
Right.
I mean, you know that going in, man. There's going to be days that you think, man, we got a chance, and there's going to be days like, man, we look like we've never practiced. I mean, that's
you never know what you have to start playing. But golly, you're correct.
I mean, it's a roller coaster, and the teams that can handle that instead and even kill are the teams that 9 times out of 10 are the successful teams. And who are some of those guys that have really taken a leadership role moving into the 2026 season for you and your team?
Yeah, just looking at our seniors, man, we got several of them that lead in different ways. And so, like, for example, we got a kid, Christian Kelly, who will be our, starting right fielder, and he'll pitch some as well. Played a lot at the end of last year, didn't play hardly any at the start of last year, but he's a good leader because he does things right in the classroom. He's a great guy inside the school. Jackson Kahn, another senior, will be a role player. This is Jarrett's younger brother. He'll be a role player for us. He'll pitch some and get some time pitch hitting and DH and playing a little bit in the field as well. But he has done an awesome job bonding with our young kids, and especially some of our young kids that we're going to probably have to depend on at some point this year. He hangs out with those guys and has really brought them along. Got a kid named Noah Six who has got unbelievable his faith, man, his beliefs. He walks the walk at the end of the day, and this kid will run through a wall. He is competitive, and he played a lot at the beginning of last year, but had an injury. So at the end of last year, he didn't play much. He probably missed about half the season with an injury. We got a few other guys, Slade Wilson, Zane Barnes, Alex Diaz. They're just real tough guys, hardworking guys, and our guys look up to those guys for their work ethic. And then Caleb Chapman, I mentioned him earlier. He's just a man. He goes about his business. He's a quiet leader, handles his business. A lot of our young kids look up to him too.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you talk about you want to get to that 25 win mark, but you also want to make sure that you're battle tested and that you're ready for those, I guess, for those 4 games that you'll play being in the 3-team area. You always play a very competitive schedule. You're in our South Alabama Showdown, like we said, down in Orange Beach. You'll play 3 really good teams there. I think I know the answer. This may be a bit of a softball question, but like I said, you play a very competitive schedule. What do you tell us why, and also why do you think that's important?
Yeah, so our schedule this year is a good schedule, and it's pretty balanced. Got a lot of good opponents on it. But first of all, we want to be ready for area play. At the end of the day, all your regular season games, other than your area games, they're just practice games. And so why not see what your team's got? Throw your guys in the fire, see what they have. And, then hopefully we'll be ready for McAdory. I don't want to get to McAdory and Aaron Buddy steps on the mound and we hadn't seen that kind of velocity all year. I want to see that several times at least before we have to face him. And then, again, no disrespect to Bessemer, but when we get in the playoffs and that first round opponent for us is Area 7. And y'all know who's in Area 7. I mean, if those 4 teams, no one would be surprised if any one of those 4 teams, Chelsea, Spain Park, Helena, or Pelham, ended up at the end. No one would be surprised at that. So we're going to play a good opponent, whether we win the area or whether we finish second. And so I want to, get there and know that we've seen those kind of teams. And our, at the end of the day, throw our kids in the fire, see what they can do, give our kids a chance. You find out who can perform and go from there.
Yeah. That you're spot on. And, before we move on to our last question here, I do want to tell you, you talked about 6A and, Austin and I have already started working on our preseason polls that we're going to release next week. And I'm telling you what, we're having some difficulties in 6A because, there's 20, there may be 20 teams that can win it, man. There are some really good.
You say that every year in 6A. It's crazy. It's like, there's always, I'm serious. I think every team in that Area 7 could win it. If they get hot at the right time, every team in there could win it. And that's how you're going to match it with first round. And then you probably got 8 or 7 or 8 more in the South and 10 or 12 in the North. And,
Yep. Forgive me for not knowing the answer, but when the reclass comes, are y'all staying 6A or going down to 5A?
We're 5. We'll be 5. Which, it's just the new 6, but we'll be 5.
Hey,
I don't know what our area is going to look like now. I know what the volleyball area is, but there's been years where the volleyball area and the baseball areas don't match up. So.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, I got one last question. It's really a 2-part question for you.
All right.
Number 1, if you had to pick one word that you think best describes the 2026 Golden Gophers, what would it be?
All right, I won't use two, but it's a hyphenated word, blue collar. And the reason I say that it's funny, I mentioned Slade and Alex earlier. These two kids, man, it's funny. They both work like all the time. They leave baseball, they go to work, like real jobs. And these two kids have come in the off season. Coach, we're ready to put that blue collar work in today. Let's put that blue collar work in. And so, they see a kid not working, they'll look at that kid and say, "You're not putting that blue collar work in. You ain't blue collar," so that kind of been a word that's been around our program all fall, and even that's practice has started. And it kind of brings me back to Coach Patterson for a minute. Of course, y'all know, my background, David. I was an assistant for him for 20 years. And I come in green behind the ears in 1999, and I learned pretty quickly what it meant to work hard. Yeah. And he believed in that hard work. We were going to show up and we were going to get after it. And he worked hard. I mean, he worked his tail off. It was easy for me to want to get out there and work hard because the head coach was working harder than anybody on the field.
You better work.
Yeah. And he would work with he would put into every player the same. It didn't matter if you were a Jameis Winston, a Jake Smith, a Jeremy Brown, who were superstar players, or if you were, Joe Blow, who wasn't going to get on the field all year. Yeah. He was going to work hard with you and make sure he got the most out of you. And then that blue collar, word, that kind of fits the city of Hueytown, the town of Hueytown, the community.
Yes,
it's a blue collar town. And, we believe in getting your hands dirty, get out there and putting that work in and just being the best you can be. Come back and go to work the next day and do it all the day after that. And hopefully you build enough good days in, you're going to improve. And as far as, go ahead.
I think I can speak for Austin when I say both of us would be highly surprised if your team is not blue collar, because it always is every year. And then my last question for you, Coach, man, I'm going to throw a little curveball at you.
All right.
If you were playing baseball today, what would be your walk-up song?
I may not know this song.
Hey, listen. So when I think about walk-up songs, I always think back to my son playing. My son's 21 now, and he played, and I was able to coach him in travel ball and little league baseball. He played at Gardendale for Coach Keedy, and I coached against him in high school, which was an experience. But I think back to those 7U and 8U and 9U days, and we loved to watch wrestling, and so you always had the songs like Stone Cold, the glass breaking, somebody walking out, and John Cena and The Rock and The Undertaker. But my favorite of all of those guys back then, the walkout songs, was CM Punk, and he walked out to Cult of Personality. And when that song hits at the very start, it really fires me up, man. It gets me going, and that's probably the one I would use.
Is it on the playlist at Hueytown?
It probably is. Coach Evans handles that for me, and I'm sure he has it on there. I've heard it before.
I got you. Well, Coach, man, listen, man, we appreciate you coming on. As I've said before, we appreciate your friendship. We appreciate what you stand for and your team. And we wish you nothing but the best as you get ready for the spring season, and look forward to seeing you the second weekend. Man, thank you so much. And we wish you and your team nothing but the best this spring.
Well, man, I appreciate it. Let me close out by saying, I work at Hueytown, and I'm very thankful for that job. We have a fantastic administrative staff. My principal, Mr. Howard, athletic director, Brandon Northcutt, they do an awesome job. And my coaching staff, my assistant coaches, man, they're the best in the business. I got 4 guys that just do an outstanding job, and we couldn't have the program we have without the support of all those guys. So, appreciate y'all again, and thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Take care. Have a good evening, Coach. Coach Chandler, man, that's Hueytown, blue collar.
Blue collar, yeah, that fits.
He gets the absolute most out of his team every single year. I mean, we've talked about it in years past. We didn't think they were just overly talented, but you look up and they're in the Sweet 16, they're in the Elite 8, and they've got a talented roster coming back this year. And you add that blue collar mentality with some talent, man. That's where special things can happen. So appreciate him coming on. Man, we talked about having 2 head coaches from 2 very prominent 6A schools across the state. You just heard from Coach Billy Chandler at Hueytown High School. Our next coach is also a coach that he has been doing it for a long time, and success has followed him at every stop he's been. I got to know him probably 10 or 12 years ago, and he became a good friend of mine. I know he's a good friend of Austin as well. And we talked about this state having good baseball coaches, but more importantly, good men. Well, I can tell you, you'll be hard pressed to find someone better than Lee Hall at Homewood High School. That's, as a coach, but more importantly, as a person. And there he is, none other than Coach Hall. Coach, good evening. How you doing?
Yeah, I got the technology to work. I'm so excited.
There you go.
Thank you, Austin, for taking us step by step how to do that.
Hey, I know I had to iron it out. I just trying to make it easy as I can for you.
It was so easy. Thank you so much. I was panicking. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to get up there and it's not going to work. So it did. I'm so excited.
You're in, Coach. You're good to go. Now you can relax and talk baseball, man. So,
yes, sir.
That's right. Well, number one, thanks for joining us. I know that you've been coaching a long time, and you've had success a lot of different places, and that goes back to you. That's a testament to you and how you work. And 6A Area 9, you were Jackson Olin, Parker, and Minor this year. Last year, I think you were Elite 8, I believe.
Sweet 16. We ran into Hartsel.
Yeah, I knew it was Hartsel. Yes, I forgot what round it was. Austin was there. Great series. But listen, man. Go ahead, Austin. I'm sorry.
I was there for that first game, and then I think rain got y'all.
Yeah.
And I was going to come back that game 3, and I went somewhere else, and I was driving back to Auburn, and there was a Hartsel radio broadcast, and I turned it on. 2-1 game, right in game 3.
That was a great game. Yeah. Great series.
And you had a good year last year. Obviously, you pushed the eventual state champs to the brink. And Hartsel's going to be good again this year, contrary to what Coach Phillips will tell you. Okay,
I'm not going to listen to anything Coach Phillips says.
That's right. But listen, man, the Patriots have a chance to have a good team too. I mean, that's I don't think you shy away from that. I think y'all got a chance to be good. But listen. That doesn't mean you're going to be any good. You've got to produce on the field, as you know. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. And we just wanted to get on here and ask you some questions about this coming season. I know everything. I know excitement's building for you. Austin did your team preview this week and
did a great job. Thank you, Austin.
Let me tell you, I had to rework that graphic because you had so many returners. I had to put on that graphic. I had to move things and just to be able to fit all those players in there.
It's not very often we have something like that, so I'm excited. Yeah. So I was glad you were able to get everybody in. And before we get started, I want to second what Coach said about what you guys do for us. It's amazing, David. I'll never forget. When I was at Randolph and you were at Huntsville, and you whispered in my ear one day. You said, "Hey, I might got something coming here in about another year or two, and I think I'm gonna get out and start something. I can't tell you what it is, but it's gonna be something special." And you have turned it into something special, and then bringing Austin along, and of course, then having your sweet wife behind the scenes doing so much for you guys. It's amazing. Thank y'all so much.
We appreciate that, Coach. We love doing it. I mean, we do. We love it, and put some miles on the car during the high school season, but we love getting out and getting to the big games. So yeah, we talked about your team preview, and I've already mentioned it briefly. You mentioned in there that this team has you really excited.
Yes, sir.
Other than the obvious talent that you've got returning, tell us more why this team just really excites you, because like I know, talent alone is not going to win it for you.
Yeah, it's funny. It probably started in 2017, and that's when we moved down, and I took the job at Homewood and had left Huntsville to come down here, and we had our first camp, and all these seniors were fourth graders. And, they're coming to camp, and you're looking around going, man, there's some really good players right here. And because, you can tell, even at that age, you can tell kids that have good actions and love baseball. And they just had a passion for it. And it was so fun to watch them. And Coach Brown, who's my pitching coach and unbelievable coach, but he saw the Mullins kid. He said, "Oh, my gosh, I cannot wait till he gets to high school. He's going to catch for us every day." And so I think it really started, almost 10 years ago. It was pretty neat. And then I think I go back to 2023. We went up to Hazel Green for the first round of the playoffs, and they kicked our butts. Beat us in 2 games. But at the end of game 2, I'm just sitting there looking at my lineup card, and I have 6 freshmen on the field. And I'll never forget Coach Wright walking over and, being very kind after he whipped our butts. And I was just like, "Coach, I'm sorry." He said, "Are you kidding me? Look at what you have on the field. I don't want to play you in 4 years." Of course, he's not at Hazel Green. He's at Huntsville now, right? So it goes back to that. And then I think last year, after the Hartselle series, which was such a great series, they beat us game 1, 3-1. We beat them 3-2, and then they beat us 2-1, and we had our chances. And Mr. Dopel did his magic, and like he did all the way through the playoffs, and shut us down. But I'm looking at the eyes of those juniors, and not that our seniors were hurting, but our juniors, there was hurt, but there was a determination I could see. And it really started the next day. They said, "We're going to go to work, coach. We're not going to have this feeling again." And I'm telling you, of course, you've said it. I've been doing it a long time, and I've never seen a group work like they work, and they work on their own. I mean, they call me or text me, "Coach, can we come by and get the keys to the field?" I mean, it's constant. They all summer long, all fall, every weekend, they're up here at our field just working, and they're putting together practices by themselves. It's just been amazing to watch. So, other than the talent that we do have, those are the things that excite me. And I think we did our first pitch event the other night, and I had the parents send all these youth pictures, and I did a slideshow, and it was pretty neat to see all the pictures up on the screen of all these kids playing together. Like there'd be a pocket of 4 here and a pocket of 3 here. I mean, these kids, this is a community baseball team. I mean, these kids have all been here since first grade. I think Drew Susie moved here around 5th grade, but they've all been playing together forever. And one of our mottos this year is Carpe Diem, just seize the day, make the most of it, because y'all have been best friends literally since first grade. Let's not think ahead. Let's just enjoy every day we have, and let's just see what happens.
Legitimately, those guys are going to play for the name on the front of their shirt.
There's no doubt about it. They've been doing it their whole life.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, let's go ahead and get into your team. We talked about it. You got a lot coming back this year, and a lot of guys who have helped, like you said, having 4 years ago that they're playing as freshmen. Who are some of those guys? Obviously, you have Levi Nicolai, one of the top players in the state, who's at Auburn. Who are some more guys that you'll greatly depend on this year at the plate and on the mound?
Yeah, no doubt. You got to start with Levi. He's been starting at shortstop for us since 8th grade. I mean, he's been playing for us a long time. And we brought him along really slow on the pitching side. I don't think he's ever thrown more than 22 innings in a season as a closer. But we're going to put him in the starting role this year and kind of turn him loose a little bit and see what he can give us there. I mean, he's got a really electric arm. But he's a great leader, just a great player and great person. Cooper Mullins been catching for us since he was a freshman. He's going to play for David up at Northwest Shoals. Just a hard-nosed kid, great leader, vocal leader, kind of the guy that's going to get us going if we're not going that day. Will Siegel's been playing for us since he was a freshman. He broke his thumb his freshman year, but has been on the varsity for a long time. Very, very athletic. Had a couple JUCO offers this fall, but has decided he just wants to go to Auburn to be a student. And that's great, but he is so athletic. Jack Bland, AKA the squirrel. I call him the squirrel. He's built like a squirrel. He's just wound up like tight and fast twitched and just a real fast electric arm, bat speed, can really, really run. He's going to Calhoun. Cooper Sane, who's going to sign with somebody. He's been our number 2 since he was a sophomore. He'll be right there in one of our top 4 guys on the mound again, but really swinging the bat well this year. He's going to be really good on forcing defensively and in right field. Drew Susie, Mr. Three-pointer. I mean, he can really shoot a basketball. Yeah. Unfortunately, Drew had a foot injury this year. He's missed most of the basketball season, still is in a boot, hoping to get him back before the season starts. He's going to Gadsden State, switch hitter, just real hard-nosed kid. I mean, just really gets after it. Really excited about him. And then Ben Roberts, who I literally almost cut his freshman year because he stood about 5 foot and weighed 100 pounds. And that thing called puberty hit him later in his career, and he's grown into about a 6'1.5", 6'2", first baseman, about 200 pounds, switch hitter, signed with David up at Northwest Shoals Community College. He can really pitch and can swing it from both sides. He'll play first base for us this year. So real excited about those guys.
Yeah. Well, you should be. I mean, that's a impressive list of returners, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess I speak for myself. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Sure.
until you get in that first game, you think that you know what you're going to get, and a lot of times you're right, and then sometimes you may be wrong.
Yeah, no doubt.
You have to be moving into the season knowing some of your strengths, but then you probably, maybe in the back of your mind, don't want to call them weaknesses, but maybe some things that you think y'all may need to improve on between now and when the season begins. What are some of those things? Both of those strengths and maybe some weaknesses.
So, David, I think our strengths are, I was looking at it the other day, we have 979 varsity at bats coming back this year. That's over a course of their careers. And we have, I think, 258 varsity innings pitched coming back. So, I mean, those are our strengths. We've got a lot of experience, a lot of guys that have been in the fire, played against really good teams. Weaknesses and as far as, speed, we love to run. We love to run the bases, and we got some guys that can really run. Might even have a guy or two that can break Josh's record. You never know.
I was about to ask, is Josh Hall working with those base runners?
He's been out to work with my outfielders. I can tell you that.
I got you.
But we got some guys that can really run. So that's a strength, and I think we'll be really good defensively. I mean, we're really athletic. We'll be really good up the middle. I mean, Levi is the best shortstop I've ever coached. I've never seen anybody play defense like him. He's really special. And then weaknesses, man, we got to improve in our strikeouts. I mean, we just struck out way too much last year. We just did not do a great job of two-strike hitting. So that's been something we've really pressed upon them in preseason, and what we'll press upon this whole year is we've got to do a better job, because we're too athletic to strike out and not get on base and run bases.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we really got to get better at.
You can't steal second sitting in the dugout by getting punched out.
No.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we talked about large senior class, a lot of juniors. You can probably sleep a little bit better this year, probably knowing that you've got a lot coming back, a lot of, like you said, over 900 returning varsity ABs, tons of innings pitched. But who are some newcomers maybe that got some limited action last year that will have to step, because you lost a couple seniors? Who are some guys who are some guys that can step into some roles that were left by those seniors who graduated last year?
Yeah, sure. By the way, Jack Ross's first 6 hits have been three home runs and 3 doubles, so he'll be hard to replace.
Yeah,
man.
So I'm glad you asked that question. It's a great question. We've got 2 seniors that missed last year. They were injured. One had Tommy John, and the other one had a stress fracture in his elbow that it re-injured again, and he ended up just missing everything. I'll start with William Tanner. He's a senior. He'll play second base most likely for us this year, but he can really spin a breaking ball. I mean, it's an above average breaking ball. So we're really excited about him, using him out of the pen, giving us some really good innings at second base. I'm really excited about having him back. And then Sims Young, as a sophomore, was one of our best relievers as a sophomore. And he has worked. Oh my gosh, I've never seen a kid work so hard to get back to play. And he could pitch somewhere if he wanted to, but he just wants to go to Auburn. But he's a great competitor. I mean, just flat out gets after it, can really locate 3 pitches, and the kind of guy you just love to have on your team. So those 2 guys are going to be really impactful players for us this year that are seniors that have missed their junior. So they come back a little bit more hungry probably, because they've sit out of baseball. Yeah. We have 3 juniors that kind of everybody got a little taste of them last year at the end of the year. Colin Crump, we didn't have a game 3 starter that we decided to go with Colin. He had only thrown 1 varsity game down at the beach, and he came in and threw 5. I think he gave up a solo home run in the Hartselle game, and then went 5 shutout innings. He's going to be pretty special. I mean, right now he's battling for our number 1 spot on our rotation, and that's saying a lot with all the seniors that we have coming back.
Yeah.
So he's somebody to really keep your eye on. George Brockwell, he came up late for us, hit close to 430 at bats on the varsity, hit a couple of home runs in the playoffs. He could be one of the best high school hitters I've ever coached. I think he has a chance to be really special. And then Chappie Chaplow, Chappie can really throw it. And we're kind of hoping he can fill the back end that Levi gave us for all these years. He's a great competitor, played running back on the football team, led the team in touchdowns. He was that short yard guy. So we're really looking forward to him and seeing his progress on the mound. It'll be hard for him and Crump to get at bats this year. Not saying that they won't, but because of all the seniors we have coming back, but they both have a chance to hit pretty good, but they're both really special on the mound.
Yeah, Chappie came to our fall ID at Orange Beach, and you could barely recognize him from the last time we'd seen him. He completely transformed his body.
Body's completely changed. Really good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, man, we'll wrap it up. And this is more of a question. This is just an interesting question we wanted to ask you. We've talked about your team this year, and we've talked about your success for the long haul. Success has followed you wherever you've been, and that's no accident. Okay, let's make sure that you understand that. That's not an accident. That's by design. Just a little interesting question. Times have changed now. I mean, we see it. I think we see it more in the college game, obviously, with NIL and people going 4 different schools in 4 different years. But times have changed. Is there a time, or have you changed how you coach? Have you changed how you lead your team, your coaching style at all over your time?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. What a lot of people forget, because it was so long ago, I was a college assistant coach for 12 years. And I think as an assistant coach, I don't know if you really establish what's your philosophy going to be and how you're going to coach. I think you're kind of told, hey, you got infielders, you got out, whatever your role is. And I think you're trying to build what your philosophy is going to be one day as a head coach. And so when I got out of college coaching and got into high school coaching, I went to Shelby County High School. It was the only job available when I left UAB, and I took it and I thought I would change the world. I went down there. I'd been a college coach for 12 years. I can turn this program around. And, you say success has followed it. My first head job, I went 5-25. weren't very good. And I hope some Shelby County player that was on that team in 2003 is watching this, because I would say I am so sorry. I had no philosophy. I went out there. I'll never forget first day of practice. I had this elite practice plan, and it wasn't hardly through the stretching. I threw it up in the air and said, okay, forget this. I'm going to have to teach a lot more baseball than I thought I was going to.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, I went through that year, and, we were horrible, and I didn't do a good job with those kids. I was probably mean. I was probably arrogant. But I will say this. I had an unbelievable mentor in high school. Bob Finley was my football coach in high school, and that's who indirectly led me to Christ. And I knew I wanted to coach because I wanted to be like Coach Finley. So I've always known that what the secret ingredient to being a great coach is, and that's to love your players. And so I left Shelby County and went to Briarwood. I was thinking I was going to get the head job, and they offered me the assistant to work for a guy that was about 10 years younger than me. And I just kept being tugged that way, and I took the job. So I was an assistant coach one more year. But the best thing that ever happened to me is Coach Yancey, who's just a legend coach. He pulls me over and says, you're going to coach football. And I said, well, I've never coached football, but I'll be happy to. And he said, okay, well. So anyway, we go through the football season. We win the state championship. First year I'm there, first year I've ever done it. But I noticed this man could yell at his kids, and also they loved him to death. Or he could love them. He could do anything. And I said, Coach, what's the secret to what you're doing? He said, I feel like my goal is to always swing a velvet hammer. And I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, you can still be tough. These kids want discipline. They want to be worked hard, but you need to cover the end of that hammer with some velvet, because that's going to show them that you do love them, even though when you're hard on them. Right. And I just, I think from that point, I started really seeing what high school was going to be about. Because, in college, they've already hit puberty. They're going to get bigger, a little bit bigger, but they're going to get stronger. But, it's like I was telling you about Ben Roberts. He's 5 foot, 100 pounds as a freshman, and now he's a big grown man. So high school to me is such a ministry opportunity to coach kids and to bring them along. But to get to your question, have I changed much? I don't think I have. I think I have always had the same approach of coaching, to one, coach with passion and energy and demand anything that you need to out of them because they want to give it. I don't think kids have changed. I really don't think they have. They want to work. They want to be the best they can be. But I would say the one thing I've probably gotten better at over the years, and probably in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years at Homewood, is a little bit more one-on-one communication with kids. Kind of, having them in the office, wanting to listen to their issues, wanting to listen to their problems. They're complaining about playing time. I want them to be able to talk to me and Coach Brown. I want them to be able to share their feelings to us, and I think that has probably helped propel me even more. I had an instance 2 years ago with a player in our exit meeting. His junior year, he had a horrible year, and I was on him pretty good. And he said some things in that meeting that he cried, I cried, and made me really kind of reevaluate some things I was doing probably 2 summers ago. And just has continued to, I'm always trying to grow as a coach. I think the X's and O's have always stayed the same, and the demand that I have for them on the field has stayed the same. But I think the personal one-on-one is probably gotten a little bit better over the years with me.
That's weird you bring that up. You cried and he cried. People outside the locker room have no clue what goes on in those walls.
Yeah.
People have no clue of the mentorship and the tears and the sweat and the blood. They have no clue of what really goes on into a team, a group.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, and you tell your parents at the parent meetings, hey, we want your sons to be able to communicate with us and, and be encouragers to them. I'm adamant about, we have an 11-year-old, our wonderful blessing. Hey, JT, I said I'd just give you a shout out. Here's your shout out. But I tell him after every game he plays, whether it be basketball or flag football or baseball, man, I just love watching you play. Yeah. Because I could care less about the performance. I just want to see him play and have fun and enjoy it. And I try to tell our players do the same, and the parents, let your kids do that, but let them have their struggles and let us help mentor them along the way. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Coach, man, that is some great advice, and I could sit here and listen to you talk all night. But we greatly appreciate you coming on and talking about the 2026 version of the Homewood of your Homewood team. And we're excited for you. And I told Coach Chandler we've already started working on our 6A rankings.
Austin, good luck with that.
Yeah, you may not like it where we have the Patriots.
Hey. There's so many good teams. You had Coach on last week with Hazel Green. I mean, there's so many great teams. Mountain Brook's loaded. There's so many great teams this year.
There are. I mean, 6A is deep. I mean, it is deep. It is.
A lot of good teams that are going to be left out of the – there are going to be some good teams that don't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, there will be. And it makes it a lot of fun if you can get to the playoffs because, if you can get there like Hartsville did last year against Chelsea – I mean, it's what an honor for both of those teams, whoever won it and whoever finished second. I mean, just to get there was a gauntlet for both of them.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's fun. It's fun for us getting to cover it. Man, I mean, it's fun for you in the playoffs having to, pulling your hair out. But I'm a huge fan. I went to a game after we got beat out. I was at some series every weekend. I love watching high school baseball. I love it.
You came over to our Yellowhammer State games last summer.
That's right.
Watch your players. That's right.
I did. Man, I love watching baseball, and I love watching kids compete and get better.
Yep.
Love watching coaches coach. I mean, I just love watching. I try to learn as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, Coach, man, again, we think the world of you. A tremendous amount of respect for you and your program. We look forward to watching y'all, and we wish you nothing but the best. Thanks so much for taking some time to come on and talk with us on this Sunday night, okay?
Thanks, guys. Hey, tell Angie I said hello.
I'll do it, Coach. Send our best to your family. Take care.
All right. I will. See ya.
Yes, sir. Man, that could have gone on for a long time between those two. So, yeah, we appreciate both of them coming on. So, in case any of you are wondering, man, every now and then, if you hear a ping on a text message and you see us laugh, it's our resident in-house coach that texts us every podcast, and we appreciate him. we're going to keep him under wraps. So we're not going to release his name. So, yeah, man, what an episode, man. Two quality human beings, two quality baseball coaches. Yeah, we're going to go move towards wrapping this thing up. As you are aware, our content's going to continue to roll out. We've talked about those high school team previews that we're going to continue up until the first day of the season. We've got several more to do. Austin, as I mentioned, is doing a great job with those. Austin is also working on some other different content pieces. I think you said one's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we've got the top. I think we've got not the top. We've got 13 teams. Just an article, teams who we think have a chance to make a big jump in 2026. Just trying to, a team who maybe didn't make the postseason or maybe was out in the first round, who we think is who's gonna make a jump. We got 13 teams spread out through some classifications, so that'll be a good article to keep. I think it's coming out at 10 a.m. tomorrow, so it'll be a good one to check out.
Speaking of outstanding coaches and men, there's another one, Coach Ryan Keaty at Gardendale High School. He's a lot like Coach Chandler, in my opinion. He gets the most out of his teams. He really does. They had a great run last year. Lost, yeah, we'll see him in a few weeks at River Run. I think Final Four last year against Hartsville. Made the Final Four, absolutely. That was a team that got tremendously better during the course of last season. And that's a shout out for Coach Keaty. Our uncommitted spotlights will continue to roll out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we highlight some uncommitted players across the state. And then, as we've talked about, next week we will be releasing our updated player rankings. Next Monday will be the 2026 class. Next Tuesday will be the 2027 class. Wednesday, the 2028 class. And then on Thursday, we'll wrap it up with our 2029 class. Our updated player rankings next week. And then I'm going to turn it over to Austin. He can finish us up here in just a second. But before we do that, I do want to make sure all of you are aware we will not be having a podcast next Sunday night because the Super Bowl comes on at 5:30. We are going to move that podcast to Monday. That's next Monday, February the 9th at 8 o'clock, and it's a biggie. It's where we're going to be releasing our 1A through 7A polls next week. That's always a lot of fun. We are already some of our classes we've already got finalized. We are still working on it. Listen, it takes a lot of time for us to do this. We can only rank 10 in each class, and there's more than 10 good teams in each class. I can assure you, whether your team's ranked in the top 10 or not, it doesn't matter. Your goals are still in front of you. You win a state championship, but we like to get that out. So again, that'll be next Monday night at 8 o'clock, not Sunday, but Monday night. And Austin, if you want to take us home, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. You said we've got our podcast next Monday night. And then we'll release it on air live like we do every like this podcast. We'll be running through the top 10 for every class. And then Tuesday morning, we'll release those top 10 polls on our website and have some other information for that classification. And then, like you said, player rankings, and then leading in the opening week starting on, or I think it's next Thursday. We're going to be doing a deep dive on each class, starting with 1A. I think it's Thursday, may be wrong, but leading up to first pitch, we'll go 1A through 7A each day, and then on Thursday, the Kickoff Classic preview will come out as we get ready for that Friday with the Kickoff Classic getting started. So, and then you talked about, we got the Kickoff Classic, the February 20th through the 21st at River Run, the South Alabama Showdown that next week, February 26th through the 28th down in Orange Beach, Gulf Shores area. We'll also be playing at Robertsdale and Valanta Park, and then the Small Town Showdown, which has also been moved to River Run on March 6th and March 7th. So 3 big weeks to open up the high school season, and we're counting down to first pitch. And then we've also got news. I think we've said it on our last couple of podcasts, our Yellowhammer State games, which is 2 years in, it's quickly turned into what we've hoped it would be. Maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, it's really accelerated its growth. Last year, we were over
181 players.
108, yeah. And that we have finalized those dates. That'll be June 16th and 17th of this summer at River Run Park in Northport. So that'll be on our website here in a few weeks once the season gets started. And in addition to our full summer schedule, we're still working on that. But the Yellowhammer State games dates have been finalized for June 16th and 17th at River Run. And then, like always, our AHSAA tab at the top of our website hosts all the information that you'll be looking for the high school season. Right now, it's got all the team previews. It's got all 3 of the high school events, and then as the season gets started, like we'll be releasing our 1A and 7A polls every week. We'll go to our Power 25, which our Power 25, our first poll, we don't do one to start the preseason. We'll give it a week and a half, and then the start of that third week of the high school season, we'll release our Power 25. And so the Mizuno Player of the Week, Diamond Notes, all that stuff will be under that AHSAA tab. So it's getting closer. We're just a few weeks away, and we can't get out to I know we've already started looking at some games for Thursday of opening week, and then obviously we'll be heading up to Northport Friday for the Kickoff Classic. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the 2 coaches to taking some time out of their busy schedule to hop on with us and preview their 2026 version of their teams. We'll be back, like we said, next Monday for our full release of our top 10 polls for Class 7A through 1A. Until then, my name is Austin Sharp. And for David Sharp, thanks once again for tuning in. We'll see you next week.